Hello, and today I am going to be talking about democracies and alliances with other countries and if there's a correlation between them. So, before we begin, there are 194 states within the world, and all of them very different in many aspects, whether it be politics, resources, geography, whatever. But for today's presentation, I'm going to be talking about whether a state is has a democracy or doesn't have a democracy. So, what is a democracy? A democracy is the form of government where citizens are able to exercise their right to vote. So, United States is a democracy, UK, Norway, just to name a few. And the way they categorize whether the country's a democracy or not is on a scale, and the scale goes from 1 to 10. 1 being not at all, this is not a democracy, you don't even consider it being a democracy, to 10, this is the democracy. For our study, we decided to look at democracies and if they make alliances with other democracies, if there's no correlation, and to do so we looked at South Asia, the Middle East, and Eastern Europe. There were a number of countries that we compared against each other. We were given if they were already alliances or not. We had to decide whether they were democracies or not. Pretty much all of them were pretty straightforward on yes, this is a democracy, or yes, this is not a democracy. Except for there were a few countries that weren't, and I'm going to give you 2 examples. So remember that scale of 1 to 10. We'll consider 5 being the point of, we'll consider 1 through 5 not democracies, and 5.01 and up to 10 democracies. So Turkey was one that was considered a hybrid, and they were given the rank 4.37. Now, for the purpose of this study and this lab project, I decided that that was not a democracy. And then another example is Albania, a 5.68, which I considered is a democracy, especially since 6 and up were considered for sure democracies. So putting all this together, looking at different research, I came up with a hypothesis of if allies and democracies do correlate, we should expect to see a greater number of alliances between democratic countries. Which led me to creating this table. So this table is allies, not allies, democracies, not democracies. Void these numbers for now. So you can see that there were allies and both countries were democracies. There were 8 of them. The countries were not allies, but they were both democracies. Only 1. Allies, but 1 country might have been a democracy, 1 might not have. There were 13. And then not allies, that same category, 20. So putting all this together, we had to calculate the chi-square value and then the p-value. So the chi-square value came out to be 6.926, and that number is relatively high, you can consider, which that basically means that there is a pattern shown here. And then the p-value, with it being so small, shows that there is also a pattern being formulated. Like the pattern, it fits, basically. So we'll put that down for now. So after looking through that, you can see that there is a correlation between democracies and whether they're alliances or not with each other. It is proven pretty much true. Of course, there might be some instances where it isn't necessarily true for that, like the 1 non-ally, but both democracies, and vice versa. But that is just a really quick run through of the findings that I found in this lab project. Thank you.